Do like, you guys are 2 weeks.
Hear ye. Welcome to today's Transportation Committee meeting.
I'll do that.
Oh,
I don't know how they run things at Redondo Beach, but we try and start things on time here, Congressman. All right, Mr. Legere, were we posted in accordance with the Brown? Whoa, we don't have Mr. Legere.
no,
Are
I'm here.
I'm here online too.
you the poster? Is he the poster? Who's the poster?
Myself right now.
It was posted.
We were posted.
We were posted.
Good. Just making sure we have a quorum. We will not call the roll today. Do we have any public comments?
Not that, no,
We're not even.
Right, take trains out of the agenda and all of a sudden nobody shows up.
Yep.
In that case, I'd like to talk about the trains.
Okay, good idea.
All right, yeah. I'd like to build a new one. This one's gonna be great. All right, consent calendar. Would anyone like to pull any items from the minutes or the transportation report? You'll notice there's a ton of money in the transportation report for the Olympics. Anybody?
yeah.
All right, would anyone like to move approval?
Second.
Redondo on the first, Author on the second. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No abstentions? All right, we're way ahead of time. All right, IWG, who will present on this matter?
Eric's not here. David, did you want to, or did Ann? Ann, do you want to present?
We were dark in
Oh, that's easy.
February.
Oh, we are quick gas. This is unbelievable.
Late present.
Great. There's a lot to talk about.
The Metro will be at Wednesday's IWG to talk about the complete streets checklist. So we'll have a bunch of people there actually, so.
And on the one thing that the infrastructure working group is doing, and we're going to be finishing or meeting on Wednesday, is we're evaluating the Measure M projects that came in this year.
Mhm.
And so we're going to be scoring and talking about how we rated them. And we have a special meeting to do that on Wednesday.
What time on Wednesday? Special meeting.
It's 1:30, but it's only for the group. It's doing it. It's only for the evaluators. And Dana's here from Transit.
From Transit?
Hi,
Oh, there you are, Dan. Hey, good to see you. The floor is yours.
All right. We met last Thursday, our operators group, and we had an update from COG staff on the General Assembly preparations. And we also had a lot of updates from our operators with some service changes. Many of us are having our FTA triennial reviews this year. And so we talked a lot about that. And also if any of our members needed to put any updates to our Measure our transit project updates, we had to have those turned in as well. And that was kind of it.
Any questions for the transit operators? All right, Mr. Zerlip, over to you for the Service Council.
Thank you very much. We met last week, first Monday of the month, on a number of different topics. The first was the I-105 Express Lane project update and how they are adding 2 lanes in each direction for express lanes. Never again shall you have a carpool of 2 without paying through the nose. Carpools are now going to be 3, and that's the way you get down the express lanes without a charge. We next had a update on our scheduling.
Wait, what? Did they slip that in the?
That's 105, but not 110, right? 110 is
It's just the
still.
10, no, the 1010 is the same way. It's not free unless you got 3 people in the car.
110 right now is 2. Yeah,
Not
110
through
is 2.
downtown.
Yeah, going downtown, you need to go with 2. But
Maybe during
well, that's, they might be
peak
changing.
hours.
Well, we'll see.
I don't know, customer.
Mannequin sales are about to
I can
skyrocket.
tell you that on the 105, it's gonna be 3 is gonna be a carpool.
I actually did a report years ago when I was a consultant that we could not sustain 2. I mean, not that I am advocating it, but that it would get too crowded and you'd have to go 3. So I'm sure they're opening it as 3 because that's what we're going.
Well, and never
And-
again
and-
shall a Corvette be able to be in the carpooling.
And the 10 has been 3 for a
You
long
can
time.
pay, you can you just pay it monthly.
Oh, $8 extra if you don't have an ID, a transponder.
Yeah.
But the 10 has been, isn't it the 10 that's been three since the inception.
As long as it has been 3. Okay, so we then looked at our schedule for the rest of the year. As I indicated to you last month, the board was considering what they were going to do about service changes, and they have decided that service changes are going to be implemented starting July the 19th after the World Cup games. And then our service council will meet in June, but will be dark, as will the board be dark in July. We are also going to be dark in August. And our September meeting, since the first Monday falls on Labor Day, we have chosen Monday, the 31st, to be our meeting for September.
I think board is dark in June. Metro board.
They're not dark in July also?
No, just
In the
June,
middle
June and
of-
August.
Okay, my
I
mistake.
just want to make sure that,
Well, we're going to be meeting in June, and the
Okay.
board, we will be dark in July and in August.
okay, I just want to make sure it wasn't.
I don't want to misstate what the board.
No, I appreciate that.
Lastly, we had an update or an overview of the Metro Ad Hoc Board Structure Committee. And next month, for those who don't understand, of course, it was voted that the Board of Supervisors should expand. And so now there's a question as to how that's going to affect the Metro Board. Note that whatever decisions are made on this end, it still must be codified by the legislature to whatever way the board is going to be reconstituted. We got an overview of what was going on. Next month, we are holding what will be tantamount to a public hearing, trying to gather information from both the public and, of course, our board members as to what we perceive it should look like in the future. And that's pretty much all I've got, unless you have some questions for me.
I've got two questions, or I got a question and an observation. The question is, have you noticed any change in attendance by moving your date?
Maybe 1, maybe 2 more people show up live. We always had 3 to 5 people who would show up for the meeting. Seemed like more of the deputies showed up for this meeting than some of the prior meetings, but not much more as far as attendance and not much more as far as the responses coming in either live or via email. Hopefully next month we will see an upsurge in that because of this public hearing style that we're having. But normally when we had public hearings, it would be at a completely different location and a completely different time frame. So we'll see.
Okay, and my observation is that the councils of governments have gotten an appointment to that committee. We had to fight for it. But we're on the board committee. And we're Terry Dipple, who represents Las Virgenes Malibu, is our spokesperson. He's the member. And we've all talked to him, and it seems to be a consensus of the, just for you to know this, of the councils of governments, that there's absolutely no reason to change the Medfield Convention. The Board of Supervisors can pick, just like they do with AQMD or anything else, they can choose 5 supervisors to sit on, sit on the board. And so our recommendation will be, there should be no change.
Well, I can tell you that I learned that the mayor of Los Angeles has 3 appointments to that board with no constraint that it has to be an elected official. And apparently there's 1 appointment already who's not an elected official.
She's been on
So-
for years.
Now, I never knew. So, I don't really have a problem with that. We'll see how it goes down the line, you know, the supervisors are, they have their own perception.
Well,
Let's leave
I
it at
just
that.
wanted to let you know that the cities are, don't see any reason to change.
That's 1 vote. Thank you.
All right, anything else on Metro service? Redondo.
Don, do you know which way they're gonna expand the additional express lane on the is it 105?
Yeah, they're gonna extend them in the middle, but they're now doing the work all the way over to the right side of each freeway where
It's already
they're,
ongoing.
Yes, it's been going for quite a while.
Okay.
Every once in a while, they've got some lane closures, et cetera. But they're adding the space on that side so that they can make 2 lanes. And they are intent upon putting those plastic barriers
Oh, right.
all the way down so that it's segmented off like, I don't know if you've been down the
Yeah.
405 down in Orange County, completely segmented off.
Yeah.
So,
And they're doing sound barriers too.
All right.
as best they can.
And for what it's worth, I feel very adequately represented by the Metro Board in its current composition, so.
Well, then you can't have a seat.
That Ben Allen thing didn't go through,
It died.
so, yeah, so the legislature probably will not change.
Well, no, the legislation right now is that, and the reason why this ad hoc committee is that they have to report to the legislature on a recommendation.
Okay.
Right?
That actually died as well.
That died too?
That died as well. So that was the reintroduction of the bill this year, and it died too. So now it's a self-imposed timeline
Oh,
that that the board they're trying to still do that, but it's self-imposed.
but but any change would need legislation. If they don't change, they don't need legislation.
That's correct.
All right, Sergio, you are up. Caltrans District 7, agency update.
Good morning, COG members. For this month, the California Transportation Committee will be voting and adopting the 2026 SHOP nominated projects. So that'll be probably released, I want to say the 3rd week of this month. The district also just finalized its Q1 and Q2 project book certification for the 2028 SHOP cycle. Outside of that, I have no other updates.
And this is the breakneck speed.
Are we done yet?
We'll pump the brakes. It's time to talk Olympics. Casey, we're a little ahead of schedule. Are you ready and available?
Yes, I am here.
There we go. The Olympics Mobility Concept Plan update. The floor is yours, a ripe 16 minutes ahead of schedule.
Okay.
Just like Olympic preparation is also running drastically ahead of schedule.
Yeah, let me just get my
15 minutes.
deck ready to share. Okay, are we all seeing my share screen?
Yeah.
All right, hi everybody. Casey Shuda, Senior Director in the Office of Strategic Innovation at LA Metro. Here to talk about Metro going for gold and preparations for the 2028 Olympic and Paralympic Games. So some context: anticipated largest peacetime gathering, biggest games ever based on the most sports being played with 36 and the most athletes over Olympics and Paralympics with 15,000. Los Angeles hosting for the 3rd time, only the 3rd city to do so behind London and Paris, and the first time Los Angeles is hosting the Paralympics. Now, this does not come without its challenges. In LA28's privately funded $8 billion budget, there was not $1 for public transportation. There's also a national special security event designation, which means most of the parking lots outside of these venues for all 36 sports will be taken over by security perimeters. And so your normal amount of parking at all these venues will not be accessible, which makes this the transit first games due to that limiting parking. And also the games will have a hard start date. This is not like a major capital program where the date will get pushed back until we are ready. The games will start on July 14th, no matter what. So the games by the numbers, just to shock you into how impressive this is all going to be. We anticipate over the Paralympic and Olympic Games, 15 million spectators, 150 heads of state, $18 billion of economic output, 5 billion viewers from around the world. But I think what we're looking at is 800 plus competition events. So that's like not only the venues themselves, but practice competition sites, fan zones, country houses, other corporate sponsor houses, just things that will be popping off around the city and how we have to prepare as your key public transportation lead. And so looking at those games venues on a map of LA County and a little bit outside, we know we have some events in Orange County and at the border of San Diego County with Trestles Beach. And then overlaying Metro's lines with those events, you can see the venues in circles here. You can see that we have a wide area to cover with getting spectators and the workforce to the games. So that is sort of Metro and the games mobility executives' task, getting the spectators and the workforce to the games, and what they like to call hosting 7 Super Bowls a day. So LA is going to host the Super Bowl next year. No big deal. We do that all the time. But this will be hosting 7 of those throughout the county every day of the games. So nothing to see here. Metro is many ways that we're going about planning for the games. One is the 28 by 28 project list. This is our major capital project list that has been ongoing since 2017. This list was just updated in March of 2024. We now have 11 projects on this list that have been completed. 11 that will be completed when we open the Purple Line D-Line Section 1 on May 8th. Go Purple Line. That was one of my projects. I led construction relations on that project from 2013 to 2023, 10 years. So the D-Line is one of my favorites of the subway line. So I hope to see everyone on May 8th at that grand opening. So we are moving quite quickly through this list. So that's exciting news. And then the games mobility.
What does that run to? What's that one? Where does it go to? Is that to La Brea? Where is that?
It's Beverly Hills to Creighton.
Brea, Fairfax, La Cienega through these states.
But the 28 by 28 used to have our project on it. Was it removed?
Oh, a long time ago.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know. Okay.
The Games Mobility Executives created with LA 28, Metro, Caltrans, Metrolink, LADOT, SCAG, to organize the transit agencies within LA to move projects forward, created a list of priority work streams, mobility hubs, bus-only lanes, first last mile improvements, to organize all the work that would have to be undertaken for all these venues to move the planning forward. It's not just Metro. When you come out of a Metro station, you're going to need that first last mile connection to a venue. It's not just going to be with the city of LA, it's going to be with the city of Carson and the city of Long Beach and the city of Pasadena and anyone that has a venue. And then if you're coming off the freeway, you're going to need to connect with Caltrans. So we're all organizing together, meeting on a regular basis, and starting to bring in other transit agencies to work with us in the development of these plans. And so in Metro's mobility concept plan,
Can you go back one slide, Casey? We had a question.
Yep.
What does heat mean?
Heat protection. So it'll be the summer high heat. We'll be protecting, looking at shade infrastructure, planting more trees in advance, and then water cooling stations. So protection from heat during the games. Our mobility concept plan work streams, we developed this plan back in 2023. I believe it was approved by our board to look at some of these work streams and find key projects to move forward. We went after some grant funding. We did secure the Reconnecting Communities and Neighborhoods grant. That's a $139 million federal grant that we secured. That includes 35 miles of bus priority enhancements, 5 first last mile corridors, 5 mobility hubs, 3 open street locations, and those are around the county. We spread the love, and those projects have cleared CEQA and NEPA. They are approaching 85% design work, and we expect some of them to even start implementation and construction at the end of this year. Beyond those projects, which we knew had funding and could get started, we wanted to start CEQA and NEPA clearance and design work on the next batch of projects, even before we had gotten federal funding for the next batch. So we went to our board just in January with a set of high value, low cost projects consistent with the MCP that we could continue to move forward on that design program. So we're not slipping behind schedule. So if we got that federal funding, we can implement them and get them complete by the 2028 games. That provisional list was approved. And And that sort of looks like this set up here, which is an E-line improvements for our light rail, some more improvements for 3 mobility hubs, some first last mile improvement, and some key station improvements at 7th and Metro and Union Station. Overall, our request for the games has reduced from $3 billion down to $2 billion. Some projects had to fall off because we just don't have the time now to complete them. And then another big chunk was the games enhanced transit service. That shuttle bus system getting spectators in the workforce to the games has reduced, and I'll get into the details of that later. So this is our overall federal and state ask, $2 billion total. And that incorporates accessibility in every single work stream, ensuring that we are including transportation elements for an inclusive and accessible games for all, that it leaves a lasting legacy of transportation and promotes awareness and social integration of a universal design across our mobility work. And then let me just shut this window. As we look at our games enhanced transit service, or the GET system, which is a shuttle bus service, essentially, that will go to all the games venues. We have reduced our service from at one time a look at over 2,000 buses down to 1,748 buses. These are borrowed buses that we will borrow from across the nation. We'll have to build sort of bus malls around the county to provide park and ride situations to venues. We'll have to create bus depots to maintain, clean, fuel, and charge these buses. And then an operations team that would include drivers, mechanics, supervisors, and schedulers to run this system. We anticipate on the busiest days of the games right now about 750,000 peak day spectators. Right now, Metro runs about 980,000 riders a day. And so we have optimized this number from the previous number you have seen of 2,700 buses. And that was due to our work with LA28. So LA28, when they finalized their venues, we were able to look at replacement venues that were closer to existing transit lines. They optimized the event schedule. So we were able to say, hey, look, if you're running baseball games at Dodger Stadium and some games at downtown LA, we can use the same buses on the same day. And if you move these schedules to 2 hours apart, we can move all the people in over here and then move all those buses and move people in downtown. And then those buses will go pick everybody up at Dodger Stadium and get rid of everyone over here. So it was really an optimization of schedule. So LA28 was really great about working with us on that to save the number of buses we would need per day. And then revised attendance numbers. Really, LA28 had to develop what the internal venue layout would look like at a lot of these venues, where the broadcast center would go inside. All those details helped us to finalize and reduce these numbers. So it worked out for us. So over half of the required buses needed.
Bus questions. Are they all, and I'll say some of us go to all these elected official events with out-of-state officials, some of which are on the bus donor list. Are all the buses running on the same fuel?
Electric.
Because one guy was like, mine are electric. Do you guys know where you're charging them? And I was like, who are you asking?
Yes, we will have to procure real estate to manage all these buses. We don't have the buses on hand yet. They have been said they will be donated, but we're in the process right now of securing that real estate and how we will charge. Yes,
Okay.
if they are chargeable buses, we will have to acquire the charging infrastructure to take care of those. If they are fuel, we
And the
will
same
get the
for
fuel to acquire
CNG?
those.
If they're mixed fleets with CNG?
Yes, same with that. We will take care of that.
Are we putting them on trains to get here? Because some of those buses max out at about 45 miles an hour. And if they're coming from Utah, like that's a trip.
Those details have not been worked out yet. We have not finalized those deals.
Got
Can I
it.
ask a question?
Yeah, please.
Are the 1,748 buses for spectators only? How are the employees going to be getting around?
The workforce will also ride those buses. Workforce and spectators will ride together. Metro will also implement a World Cup Gets system in June and July for the Gets as a foundational step towards this Gets program in the games.
Let me ask you another
Can-
question. On the 750,000 spectators, how many employees?
We don't have those numbers exactly yet from LA28. They themselves are still figuring those out. For the current bus fleet, here's a little look at the nation's map and the agencies that have so far committed to donating their buses to us. Agreements, like I said, are still in the works of signing on the dotted line. We also have a commitment from 29 agencies and over 300 drivers to accompany these 800 plus buses. So in addition to the Gets, the other temporary or Games essential project is the Games Route Network that Caltrans will be leading. That's over 210 highway miles with one lane dedicated to the Games family. That's to ensure that the athletes will get to their venues on time. It also includes 100 arterial miles on local city streets. So when the freeway ends, the venue, to get to the venue, you'll need to get on the city street, whether that's the city of Los Angeles, city of Long Beach, city of Carson, city of Pasadena. Caltrans will be working with those local jurisdictions to designate those roads and then implement that enforcement. And the details of that enforcement is being working out now. And then first last mile, as we know, is usually the first last mile from a station to a place of business or your home. Here, we're calling that also the venue approach. So we know as pedestrians will be approaching the venue, and because of those security perimeters, the venue approach might look different because it's not just the outside of the physical venue. I just got back from Milan where we visited the games, and the perimeter for each venue at some points was a mile outside of the physical venue itself. So when you're looking at that venue approach, the Gets bus might be even dropping you off a few blocks outside of the security perimeter, and the security perimeter itself might be a half a mile to a mile outside of the physical building that you're going into. So we want to make sure that we're improving pedestrian walkways, including increased shade, making sure that there is a hydration station along the way, improving signage and wayfinding from wherever you're exiting, whether that being a metro station or a Gets drop-off situation. And then working with the local jurisdiction whose street you're on, whether it be the city of LA, city of Long Beach, city of Carson, to ensure that there is a seamless path from however you're getting to that location into the venue. Also, mobility hubs.
We have a question from Redondo.
Question, when you say increased shade, are you talking about structures or trees? Something that would last longer?
Mainly at this point, structures. I know LA28, I hope you have heard now from LA28, they're doing a heat resiliency offering. They have grants right now for, I believe, there is a potential for tree planting. So I don't know if you guys have heard, but Andy, I don't know if you connect them. LA28 right now has a grant program open, I believe, for the next couple of weeks to win grants for planting or things like that. And I can send you the link to that if you don't have it.
So Dina,
Okay, so, I'm sitting here and you're talking about all the buses that are gonna be used for participants, for people going to venues, and people working, but what about the regular Joe citizen just trying to get to work or trying to get to a shopping center and not going to an Olympic event? Are we still gonna have transportation for them?
Yes, Metro's existing service will run as usual. We will not be compromising our existing service for this service plan. And Metro has already made it clear through our CEO, Stephanie Wiggins, that we will not be spending our own dollars on the Get system, which is a temporary service specifically for the games. We will invest some of our local dollars for venue improvements that will stay as a lasting benefit. We will improve mobility hubs. We'll improve station improvements. We'll improve the reliability of our service, but we won't be spending our own money on a Gets temporary shuttle system.
Don.
Station improvements. It's my understanding that Metro has the funding to improve the 3 stations along the, I don't even know if there's C or K line anymore, that need to be expanded to handle 3-car trains. Is it anticipated that that project would be completed prior to the Olympics?
I'm not sure which project that is. Andy, do you
I
know?
guess that answers my
Yeah,
question.
I don't think, we're not gonna do platform extensions or add transformers, I don't think by then.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not a specific games project.
Okay, mobility
you.
hubs.
Mobility hubs, 5 mobility hubs included in the Reconnecting Communities grant, fully funded. 3 projects that were included in the mobility concept plan, phase 2 project that we're looking for funding, Harbor Gateway, Norwalk Memorial Park. Those projects are at 15% design now, moving along. Wayfinding, we found in Paris the wayfinding, including permanent signage, digital wayfinding, human wayfinding was a huge success, really made a difference in getting people to the games. There was quite a difference in the way that Milan handled signage. Milan had, they passed a city resolution and that they would not spend any money on the games. And you could see that in the way things were handled. However, people who come to the games are excited to be at the games and they will find their way no matter what. Something I took away from being at both were that each city did it their own way. And so Los Angeles has the ability to do it our own way. I think we will do it the best to our ability. I think we will do it in the honor of Los Angeles. I think we can show up and show out and it will be wonderful. So I think we will be a successful games because we will do it LA's way.
Quick question on mobility hubs. Were all those already existing stops or any of those new builds?
These are all existing stops. So taking
Okay, that's all.
existing infrastructure and building out amenities. And then here for heat principles, looking at heat mitigation strategies grounded in data and emerging best practices, balancing temporary and permanent heat mitigation. So looking for moving shade from the exemption to the norm, looking at various shade opportunities, and then of course, water refill stations, both permanent and temporary around our existing stations and venues. And then coordinating with local jurisdictions to see how they can also incorporate these in their plans for the games. And that's my presentation. Thank you.
Hawthorne.
I have a question. How come I didn't see nothing talk about Inglewood and all the surrounding cities like Hawthorne that we're only half a mile from the Intuit Dome and the SoFi Stadium? You know how the 105 we have the green line and the other line on aviation and Rose Grand and Marine.
Those are not
those
games.
areas.
Those are not game specific projects.
But Inglewood have games. The city of Inglewood, right? All the basketball is not going to be at the Intuit Dome, and the
Yes.
swim is not going to be at the SoFi.
They will, yes. And I believe that the city of Inglewood is doing some specific projects, the transition from their ITC project, but that is not Metro leading those.
Even down, say, Hawthorne Boulevard, a single lane to go to the venues, coming from, for example, from South Bay or from the east, for example, on 105.
That is not, Metro is not handling those projects as game-specific projects.
All right, thank you. Okay.
Other questions for Metro? Your voices?
Oh, yeah.
Oh. Holly, you have a question?
I just want to know, with all those water stations you're adding, are you adding any bathrooms?
We have a question. Are you guys adding bathrooms to go with the water stations?
At this time, I don't know if there will be any around the open streets venues or first last mile as a temporary nature. We are adding throne restrooms at a lot of our stations and mobility hubs.
So that's temporaries. But
The thrones would be permanent by
they're
our
permanent? They're
mobility
piped
hubs
in?
and stations.
Oh. Look at that.
We just installed one in downtown Inglewood.
Oh, there we go. We have an Inglewood project. Englewood gets a potty.
I have a fight to
Permanent.
A permanent potty.
Yes, the thrones are permanent and they're a lot more going
But I
in.
understand.
Yeah, they are nice. I didn't know they were permanent. I thought they were temporary. Look at that. Redondo, question.
Just a comment, Casey, we have a Redondo Beach Transit Center that's got a huge parking lot. It's totally underutilized, so feel free to use that for bus storage, et cetera. I'd love to see it go to use.
Okay, thank you. I believe that is on our master list of parking lots we need access to for one reason or another.
All right, great.
Thank you.
All right, other questions? Thank you very much,
I have a
Casey.
quick question,
Oh, wait, we
sorry.
got one, District 4.
Yeah, thanks, Casey. This is Bubba Fish, Deputy for Supervisor Hahn. One thing that's coming up is like cities are some of our cities are wondering what that security perimeter is going to be. I know LA 28 is in charge of it, but just trying to get ahead of like how wide it's going to be, how it's going to impact, because that's going to impact a lot of the mobility projects that we're going to need to get folks there, and then the bus lines too. So just do we know when we're going to know from LA 28 what those perimeters are?
They
It was
know,
my
the service knows, because I talked to the Secret Service and they have it.
And
But nobody
I think
knows who's in
they
charge,
know-
so.
They know what they want, but I think LA 28 might push back on what the Secret Service wants.
That's the ultimate question, Casey, you will hear from us. We would love an org chart of who's actually in charge of these games. Because we got a lot of people who are pretty sure they are, and we got a general marching around with no army. So it would be super helpful if you could tell us who's running it. At any given.
Yeah. Would love to know that myself sometimes.
go.
I would say, from my understanding about the security perimeters, I believe that LA 28 plans to do public outreach around those starting in the summer. And that's related to being the first ones to come out and tell the community, like local homeowners and businesses, hey, here's the security perimeter and you're going to be impacted by it. So I believe LA 28 and their community relations and outreach team want to be the first people to be sharing that message. And the expectation was that was going to start this summer.
Does Metro get to have input into those?
We have, yes.
Okay.
Specifically related to the GET system and how we would drop off people and pick people up related to those security perimeters, how far or how close we could get to those security perimeters. Related to existing bus lines and train lines. There were some areas where they said, oh, let's just shut down this train that goes through the security perimeter. And we said, absolutely not. We need that service to run hundreds of thousands of people a day. And they have been responsive. So I also am not, while again, as someone mentioned, they have said what they want. There are still negotiations happening. I know between us and them, so I'm sure there are a lot of other parties still trying to get their final say in as well.
Thank you. Thanks, Chris.
So do
Oh,
you,
one more.
do you really expect some of these perimeters to be as far away as a mile from the venue? I mean, we're not up in those mountains in Milan where it's only one road going in. It seems to me, we talk about first and last mile just to get on buses, and we get on the bus and then you're gonna let me off a mile away from the venue? Seems
I
incongruous.
sure hope so. The security perimeter in Milan was in Milan, just outside the city, like 30 minutes outside the city, where they had a 1 mile perimeter from where you hit the outside of the security check to the entrance to my seat, which gave pause to LA 28, and they asked us if they could know more about micro mobility options. So to be determined how far those perimeters actually get.
And they do that in uncomfortable Italian shoes.
Maybe even.
Pants, tight pants they can walk on. We can do this together, Don. We can do this together.
I got Skechers,
All
man.
right, Casey, I think you are off the hook. Now that we're all warmed up for Nathan, he's gonna put his helmet on because we are ready.
Thank
Talk to us
you.
about- Thank you very much. Take all the time you need, Nathan. We're ahead of schedule. 11:20 was your time, but you are up at 11:11. Let's talk Vincent Thomas Bridge deck replacement.
We'll go all the way till 11:40 to get our money's worth.
Perfect. We're ahead of schedule. You're almost done.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm Nathan Bass, Caltrans District 7. Appreciate the invitation to present to your committee. You'll hear from myself today, as well as Rima Tebuleva, who is the project manager, and Ken Young from the Office of the District Traffic Manager, to speak about the traffic mitigation plans that we have for this project, which is the Vincent Thomas Bridge deck replacement project headed into construction this month. Let me get this started. And everyone can see my screen. I just want to make sure.
We got you.
Great. So in relation to your COG, we're down at the very southern portion where CD 15 borders with Los Angeles. The Vincent Thomas Bridge is on State Route 47 connecting Terminal Island with San Pedro. Here are the project limits. As you can see, as I said, we're connecting Terminal Island to San Pedro down near the terminus of the 110 freeway in San Pedro. The purpose of this project is to preserve the deck's structural integrity and improve the overall safety for the traveling public and maintenance workers. The bridge has been in service for over 60 years, during a time which the harbor area's population has nearly doubled in size, and the port of Los Angeles and Long Beach have become the nation's busiest ports for containerized cargo. So it has seen a massive growth in its usage, as well as exposure to the marine environment, which have led to a degradation of the bridge deck. It's important to note that the structural integrity of the bridge remains strong. So this project is merely to replace the bridge deck and keep it in use for many more decades to come, as well as enhance other features and modernize them, like the median barrier, bridge railings, and seismic elements of the bridge. Shown here are some of the spalling concrete on the bridge deck identified by our maintenance crews, in which inspections of the bridge have noted that the condition of the bridge deck itself, the concrete bridge deck, is in poor condition, which has triggered us to carry out this project. Right now, or I guess past several years, maintenance costs on the bridge have averaged $1 million, with costs increasing year over year. We also last year had the failure of finger joints, which I think in the very top left of the picture on the left, you can see there a finger joint failed, triggering an emergency project for an additional $7 million. So just over the last year, we're putting out over $8 million in maintenance. So normal maintenance on the bridge is no longer sufficient. We're patching up spalling like this on a weekly basis. This project will prevent these sort of disruptions on an ongoing basis. I'm going to pass it to Rima, the project manager, to talk a bit about the project schedule.
Thank you, Nathan, and hello, everyone. So Caltrans finalized design in November of last year. Construction contract was signed with Skanska CES joint venture in early January of this year. Preparatory field work officially started on February 23rd. And construction work will be executed in 3 phases: pre-full closure, full closure, and post-full closure. Pre-full closure phase will begin this month, and we target to complete it in October 2026. The 16 months full closure phase will begin on November 1st, 2026, and will be completed in winter 27-28. The post-full closure phase will start in winter 27-28 and will be completed in winter 28-29. Thank you, and I'm passing this on to Nathan to provide additional details for each phase.
Great.
Could you get those dates again for the full closure?
Can we go back again?
So Nathan will provide you the details in his presentation.
Yeah, there's a few slides coming up on construction, and we'll have those dates laid out for you. So this project is going into construction on March 23rd. And during the first stage of construction, the pre-full closure stage, that'll mean overnight one-directional closures as we work on components on the bridge, including an underdeck shield and working platform, staircases for workers to access the bridge, which will expedite construction, as well as structural bracing on the approach spans and on the bridge. Those one-directional closures are expected to go through this summer, and begin in the westbound section or direction. So you can expect closures of the Vincent Thomas Bridge going westbound overnight, at least for the next month or so, from 10:45 to 6:45 a.m. Starting in the summer and running into late October will be improvements on local roads that we're going to use as detour routes. So that includes Alameda and Anaheim, for example, down in the Wilmington area. Those local road improvements will last through late October. And that will bring us into the full closure of the Vincent Thomas Bridge. It'll be a 16-month ordeal starting in November this year. It'll be a round-the-clock operation, hoping to get the deck replaced and traffic reopened, or the bridge reopened to traffic before the 2028 Olympics. And the post full closure stage will follow the bridge deck replacement itself. This is for punch list items, removing those the features that I listed during the pre full closure stage, such as the underdeck shield, staircases, and structural bracing. And this will be a 12-month process following the bridge being reopened to traffic. Those overnight closures during weekends, or excuse me, during weekdays, will resume with potential closures on the weekend as well. And now I'll pass it to Ken Young to talk about the traffic management plan for this project.
Thanks, Nathan. Hello, everyone. In terms of the traffic management plan, essentially it's a collection of strategies to address the impacts that this project is going to bring, in particular, the 16-month closure. It's a collaborative process in which we work with our stakeholders. We have a technical advisory committee. We have a community advisory committee, as well as other public meetings that we've had to address a number of challenge areas that were brought to our attention or that we determined early on in the project. And the process is to use a combination of traditional strategies and innovative strategies to best minimize those impacts. Amongst those traditional strategies, our public awareness campaign and our motorist information strategies are essential, and will, as simple as it may seem, it will be the core of what will determine our success. So in terms of public information, we do that through social media. We do that through meetings such as this. Amongst other things, I think we've participated at farmers markets. In terms of motorist information strategies, we'll deploy the electronic message signs that we have on our roadways, and we'll be supplementing them with portable, we would call it changeable message signs at decision points as far north as the 101 and to the west, and the 60 to the east, all the way down to the port area. In terms of when that information will, so we'll have, in terms of 60 days in advance of the full closure in particular, we'll have pre-event advisories at the bridge itself, 60 days in advance, and 30 days in advance. We will have information relative to the full closure from within the immediate area of impact, which is, I'll just say for the most part, south of the 405. And above and beyond that to the 101 and 60, for example, or the 10 actually, we'll have information disseminated about 2 weeks in advance, which is our normal. So we realize the scale and the magnitude of this project, and we're adjusting our information and public information that is as well accordingly. In terms of incident management, we're working with Metro to extend our existing coverage for Freeway Service Patrol on the 110 and the 710, as well as adding additional routes such as PCH. We're also expecting to work with the contractor to work to address any needs on the detour itself on the local street system. And further, we're looking to not only accommodate passenger vehicles, but heavy tow vehicles as well, with understanding of the demand really that's coming to and from the port. In terms of alternate route strategies, we've been working collaboratively to provide or identify improvements along the detour route. So we're adding, I'll talk about it more specifically later, but we're adding capacity in certain areas. We're adjusting the length of turn pockets, for example, to provide extra storage, as well as doing the simple things such as signal timing. Next slide. As indicated earlier, we've been working in collaboration, not only with our stakeholders, but with the communities as well. So in late 2024, for a 3-month period, we conducted a tour of Wilmington, San Pedro, and Long Beach to share our evolving plans and to get feedback for consideration. Much of what you'll see later in this presentation. On a monthly basis, we meet with our stakeholders, with our technical advisory committee, as well as a community advisory committee. And these meetings will continue, will not only occur up to the project or construction itself, but as needed, we expect the meetings to continue through the construction phase as we adjust to whatever conditions may arise during construction. Next slide. One of our main priorities, as always, is to maximize the state highway system. If we don't have to have people get off the freeway system, we'd rather them just stay there. But when they do need to get off and use the detour, for example, or any other alternate route, one of our goals is to minimize that demand or congestion. And one of the ways that we're trying to achieve that, in addition to signal timing, is through the deployment of traffic control officers, where through our initial studies, we have an understanding of some of the challenge areas, and we're prioritizing deployment of those traffic control officers as needed. I'll talk a little bit further about those traffic control officers, but additionally, in the middle bullet there, as we indicated in terms of our public awareness campaign, we want to keep the residents, stakeholders, and motorists well informed. And then we have, and we're also, in preparation, preparing for any type of, in terms of incident response or emergency incident responder access. We talk about FSP. We've engaged with our local enforcement partners. In any case where there's a deployed vehicle or anything beyond that, what the potential procedure could and should be. Next slide. In terms of pre and post foreclosure, and this is the detour that we identified, which is namely Harry Bridges to Alameda, requires pavement rehabilitation, which will occur, I think, maybe a couple months before the foreclosure in November of this year. This pre and post foreclosure work, or at least more specifically pre, which will start this month, won't have the benefit of having the rehab detour. So our strategy will be to maximize the state highway system. And in this case, for work that's being done on the eastbound roadway, we will maximize the state highway system by using from the San Pedro side on the 110 for motorists to utilize PCH to 103 to 47 to access Terminal Island. And beyond Terminal Island, those motorists can continue easterly to the 710 towards Long Beach or beyond. Next slide. The westbound detour is basically the inverse of the eastbound. And so from Terminal Island, the detour would be 47 to 103 to PCH to the 110 to get to access the San Pedro side and beyond. And I think that's and then for motorists that are on the 710, they can access the PCH and head westerly to the 110 to San Pedro and beyond. Next slide. In terms of the full closure, the detour route, again, the main detour route is the freeway system itself, but beyond that, the official signed detour is Harry Bridges Boulevard, which transitions to Alameda, to Anaheim Street, to Henry Ford Avenue, down south, the 47 to Terminal Island. So that was the first. And I say that's the first because there's more green than what I just described. That was determined during the early phases, during those workshops that we had with the public, during those meetings that we had with the TAC and CAC community committees. It was developed based on basic guidelines in terms of proximity to the closure, the available capacity, and the ability to accommodate all vehicle types. Since the establishment of the signed detour and in collaboration with our partners, we recognize that there's certain challenge areas along the route, namely on Anaheim Street at Alameda, Anaheim Street at Henry Ford, as well as Henry Ford at Pier A. And there's there's a lot of rail activity in the area, and there may be some operational challenges in terms of demand within that area. So to facilitate traffic during those times, we've extended the detour on Anaheim Street to the east to 103, basically through the connector at I Street. So whenever there are challenges in terms of rail activity, whenever there is say saturation at those intersections which I've identified, motorists will have the alternate ability to go to 103 and to head south to Terminal Island unimpeded. So we felt like that was a good alternative there to add to the primary detour that we established. Next slide. As indicated before, we'll be deploying traffic control officers. So we've been working with the city of LA for the most part to identify locations of need. We have a cooperative agreement with them as well as the Port of Long Beach, I believe, to get those officers in place at the locations identified. The strategy will be during the 16-month full closure to have traffic control officers deployed during the weekdays for a 13-hour period, beginning as early as 6 a.m. to as late as 7 p.m. There will also be deployment during the weekends, but it's more limited. It'll be along the lines of maybe between 5 to 10 hours on a Saturday or Sunday, respectively, kind of starting for the most part in the late morning to approximately 6 p.m. in the evening. And next slide.
Question here.
Yes.
Question coming in from Metro.
Could you go back to, currently, if I'm heading north on Gaffey Street, I cannot connect and go across the Vincent Thomas Bridge from that initial entry point. And it looks now like you're going to open up that entry point and then make us go where number 2 is, north and back north that way. Is that correct? Are you going to open that entry point when you make this happen?
Well, if I'm looking at where number 2, the location number 2 represents, so if someone's coming south on the 110, and they should miss the detour, they would continue south on the 110, and ultimately what we're calling the hard closure will be at location 1 and then ultimately they'll be directed. That will connect them from Front Street, which is number 2 basically, to Pacific, to John S. Gibson, and back onto the detour.
Will I be able to go north where you have that number 15 right now, when I get on Gaffey, will I be able to continue north on the 110?
Yes, you will. From 15, yes.
Okay, and if I wanted to, could I go, I guess is that west over to number 1? Because right now I can't do that.
Yes, you'll be able to do that. Yes.
Thank you.
Are all of these positions funded within the project or any of them supplementary funding?
They're funded within the project.
OT. All right, we're good for the next one.
I think this last slide here represents a lot of cameras. Basically, the CCTV cameras, just for ease of viewing here, because there's a lot of cameras on the border, the 405, the 710, the 110, and the 47. You see a lot of black cameras there. That represents our existing cameras. Like a lot of agencies, we're challenged in regards to communication and wire theft and everything. So we're upgrading the health of those devices by installing modems there. So wherever there's unavailability, so to speak, we expect to have that availability through providing modems. The color locations, namely the yellow ones in particular, represent collaboration with the City of LA, specifically the Bureau of Street Lighting. And we're also coordinating with the City of Long Beach and the Port of Long Beach to identify camera locations. And over this time frame that we've been working with them, we've added them, we've repositioned them to have the best view possible not only through the main corridors, say those corridors between the 110 and the 710, say on Anaheim or PCH or Sepulveda, but also along corridors such as Alameda Street to the 405, or there's been concerns raised about truck circulation through residential streets. So we're keeping that in mind in terms of positioning of cameras. Further, we have these green cameras. Say, for example, if you're looking at Anaheim Street, you see there's 3 cameras there, 21, 22, and 23. And then if you look kind of beyond that, there's a number of other cameras there, within the local street network, but also along the street network, along the state highway system. Those represent cameras that we expect to use for our automated work zone information system, which will be a means of using not only cameras but speed detectors to view the conditions on the say the state highway system, if I use that, and based on those conditions to be able to provide the appropriate messaging to motorists, to use any available routes. So, for example, there may be congestion on one of the routes. I'll just say on the 710, for example, because we plan on diverting a lot more traffic to the 710 because it serves as a direct connection to Terminal Island. But in a case where there's a camera detects congestion there, we'll be able to inform the motorist remotely that there's traffic ahead or traffic is jammed, to utilize alternate routes, which could be PCH, could be Willow Street, for example. And we will have portable changeable message signs at every decision point. So decision points being not only the freeway to freeway system connectors, but also the freeway to local street network. So there will be a lot of assets out there to provide to inform the motorists of the alternate routes, to give it with those decision points, and then we'll have this remote messaging that could, as best as possible, interactively, situationally, or in real time, provide the motorists with information towards a condition related to a condition downstream and what they can do as an alternate. And then above and beyond this, I think we expect to identify some camera locations upstream or as I say, to the north of what we view here to better to assess the traffic diversion and how it's occurring. And so then we'll be able to make the appropriate adjustments as needed. For example, the placement of a portable changeable mesh sign, for example, relates to a 5% diversion in one route or another. So it could be, so once we're able to see the conditions with these cameras, then that enables us with the ability to adapt as much as possible. I think with that said, returning back to you, Nathan.
Appreciate that. We addressed a couple questions along the way, but now would be a good time to open the floor.
Don Zerlip.
Yes, could you go back one slide, please? I cannot read the name of that road. That is the last link of the diversion right down there before it hits into San Pedro. What is that street?
This one?
No,
It could be-
no, to your right, that one right there. Yes, what is that? Harry Bridges?
Harry Bridges.
Okay, I'd like to understand in your detours for closing the bridge in one direction or another, you routed traffic all the way up to PCH. Why now, when you are closing the bridge altogether, do you choose a different route?
Yeah, for the pre and post foreclosure, that's a condition in which the detour is not. I'm sorry. The detour of Harry Bridges Boulevard will not be rehabilitated at the time that the pre-closure occurs. That's why we're maximizing the state highway system and utilizing PCH. At the time when the full closure occurs on November 1st of this year, Harry Bridges will be rehabilitated, so it'll be available for use, and that's why during that full closure we have designated the primary assigned detour to be used.
Okay, and I presume the answer to this question is no, but you are not going to, when you are closing down half of the bridge at a time, you're not considering putting one direction of traffic in each way. You're simply going to close down that direction.
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Good luck.
All right, gentlemen, Nathan, Ken, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Great. And I know the committee staff have my contact information, but here is the phone numbers for public information officers on the project. That's myself and my counterpart, Diana Jimenez. And you can also email us at vtbproject@dot.ca.gov. Our project website is vtbproject.com, has the schedule that you saw earlier in the presentation, if you'd like to refer back to that, and other frequently asked questions. So thank you again for the opportunity, and have a nice day.
You have these. You have both. PowerPoints. Both slide decks. So they'll be on the web. These slide decks will be on the website.
Yeah, I can provide the slide deck directly to your committee staff, and they can distribute from there and get in touch. This specific presentation will not be on our website as it's not part of our public meeting series, but we're happy to provide you with the slides regardless.
It'll be under the Transportation Committee. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
All right, next up, we have the 3-month look ahead. Anything you'd like to highlight, Jackie or David or anybody?
As far as our work here at the Transportation Committee, after you can see that we've got some programs all the way out to June.
Yeah, I think next month will be the big month with our Measure M recommendations for everybody. So it'll be a busy agenda, I think.
Well, I can give my little General Assembly.
Please do, pitch away.
Okay. Well, this is going to be a really good General Assembly. I think about a half an hour ago, we got our last speaker confirmed. I'm going to hear this again at the steering committee, but we have a panel in the morning And the panel is going to be on, the sort of venues. We've got Elizabeth House from Redondo Beach, Eric Johnson from West Harbor, and Linda Grimes, who is the executive director of the San Pedro Waterfront Arts District, to talk about arts and culture and all of these things. Then we have a mayor's panel. We've got George Chen, Chris Pimentel, and we have Cedric Hicks is the mayor pro tem from Carson. So Cedric's going to speak. So that's the mayor's panel. Those two panels will be moderated by Mark Rogandino, who was an Emmy Award-winning Fox News sportscaster on Channel 11. And he seems to be really invested in making this a fun event. Lunch, and then Larry Cosmount is moderating a panel. And Larry is, I'm really excited. He has an entire outline and he's talked to all the speakers, and he's working with each of them to make sure that they're really on target to have a discussion. Alan Sanford from Beach Life is one of them. Evan Eloff, who does sports facilities and the economics of them around for cities around the United States. He's flying in from Florida. And then Christy Castillo Butcher, who is the Senior Vice President of Programming at Hollywood Park. So she knows all that. Then we have our final panel of the day is the West Drift Hotel's general manager, who West Drift, as I've said, takes the athletes that are coming in from all of the places. So they're a sports hotel. We have Joe Forgiorini from Metro, who's going to talk about bus service, and Dana Penn from Gardena, who's also going to talk about local bus service on our very local carriers. Dan Rodman from City of LA is going to talk about fan zones. And something I've learned after many, many years in local government is that the police assign one person to do, like to speak for the region. So we're having Captain Rachel Johnson from Manhattan Beach, who speaks for the region, which I had no idea that was the case. So she'll be speaking for public safety concerns. And then we have a raffle, and we're getting some fun prizes for our raffle. And that's our day. Parking is, we have 253 spaces. If you say you're with the General Assembly, parking is $20 at Self Park. But we've got 250 first people come and get free. You can also park on the street or whatever else, wherever else you can find space. But we really hope you'll register. We have to get your registration because we buy food for this event and we don't want to buy extra food. Please plan to stay as long as you can. I think it's going to be a fun day. And we have an exhibit hall as well.
All right. Any announcements besides that?
Oh, I have a question, not a question, but the major art project, how many of you guys are going to be looking on Wednesday for evaluation? How many projects have been submitted?
It's Measure M for sure.
Measure M.
And we're looking at,
We have 11 new project requests and about 8 existing project requests.
So just by listening the Olympic mobility project, so when you guys go evaluate those proposals, Dave, will you listen to me? Make sure that you pay attention what she said about that 1 mile or half a mile security permit. So that's mean, look, Inglewood wasn't there on the, and there, Hawthorne wasn't there, Lennox wasn't there. So we're going to have major issues when it comes to the Olympics. So when you read of those projects, I'm putting a pitch for Hawthorne that we want to do something there. So make sure, give it a plus A.
is there somebody in your, is there somebody in your city that's monitoring this? That's because you should be involved in the Inglewood discussion.
We were supposed to be monitored, but Inglewood has been silent, completely silent. So I need to talk to the supervisor. Okay, and I'm gonna bring the congresswoman on board because we're gonna have to have a conversation.
Yeah.
Because we don't know, because this is going to impact Hawthorne, Gardena, Lennox, even Lawndale, because if they're gonna think about 1 mile, Hawthorne is half a mile from the SoFi.
I can't imagine a perimeter.
I don't
That
know.
would be an amazing security perimeter that wraps around a freeway.
Exactly. And then they don't have our green line, the Imperial. and Lennox, right there, people comes up.
It doesn't work here.
And then we have, you know, the metro right there at Marine and Aviation. And Douglas. Come on.
All right, duly noted from Hawthorne, major issues.
I was just gonna say, our office has been talking with their consultants. They had come here for a presentation once.
Yeah, I know that consultant very well.
You talking about Lisa?
Yeah.
Trifoletti?
Yeah.
They haven't been responding.
Well, we were supposed to be talking about one bus lane on Hawthorne Boulevard, and I'm still waiting. Since the meeting over here.
Well, just because your town names that boulevard doesn't mean you get a lane.
But they don't know that those two stations in Hawthorne, they're not in Inglewood or in Lennox.
Why don't you schedule a meeting with Mayor Butts?
Oh, I am going to, I'm gonna bring the big guns.
All right, duly noted, Hawthorne will be bringing big guns.
Mm-hmm.
Big guns.
And we already have a headache of parking in Hawthorne.
Any other announcements? All right, with that said,
We made it over time.
3 minutes past our time. We are adjourned for the day.
Yeah, go Primadale. Okay, because the congresswoman has told me that she actually to reconvene all the cities because for not to be left behind. So we need to sit down and talk about it.
We've been talking with,
when you think.
Andy McCauley's been talking with Lisa.
Yeah, because
Because of the, we don't want whatever their infrastructure, they're creating. Any parking issues. It's already.
yeah, that's hot on. So that is where we definitely because
West Side
they're talking to the mayor of Inglewood because Mayor Butts sits on the
I
metro.
love when she says, LA does.
He might have his own idea what he wants to do with it.
Right.
But he doesn't understand that it's going to impact south of us,
Right now.
because especially the 105. You know, and he's the one who had the station.
Such a great place.
You know, even right there on Friendship. Right, then we have Lennox Station, then we have the Marine is in. So then we got the Douglas Station.